What's going on, Unbreakable Rogues? Good morning. Today we're going to talk about real quick on how big is your laser, right? How big is your laser? But you know what? The reality is you only need a little piece, a little like flash to go and direct that laser. After the past couple of days, I've been disconnected more and more on media, as far as news, as far as what's happening. Is nothing that everything that happening out there is nothing that had to do with your future. You got to go through a moment that, in order for me to accomplish where I wanted to go, I got to put my a laser focus. Like, if you haven't point a laser in the middle of the night, I mean, it just goes and just goes, right? You need a very little thing, and even planes can actually, which is illegal, by the way, but you can see the amount of power that that laser has, right? So that's the amount of power that you need to do on a daily basis. Like, put your laser, what's your target? Shutting social media off completely has become a daily habit for me. Like, and hopefully does to you as well. Because you don't have time to waste any longer. Like this week, obviously, some part of the U.S., they're on a spring break, right? Kids are on a spring break. So what did they do in spring break? They're on the break, and they just like, they thought, we thought when you have those breaks, you're done. When you're done to college, I'm done. That's just the beginning, son. That is just the beginning. But we focus our lasers, pointing our lasers to, what people point the lasers to a cat, right? And then like cats, they go crazy, right? So we point our laser like we are playing with a cat. Which, by the way, we haven't done. It's kind of hilarious, right? But as an analogy, makes sense because our lives, we're constantly putting ourselves in a complete different target. I was listening to Grant Cardone this morning, and all the trainings that he does, and free and videos on YouTube as well. Like, you gotta get your target. What's your target? What you're aiming to. For a lot of years, I didn't know my target. I didn't know what target was. Like, am I pointing something like in a way that is just, we're talking about target because they don't teach you in the schools. They teach you, go to school, but you're in a whole different, mentality where we're not focusing on the right target because our laser is all over the place. We're like a cat, looking like idiots. I've been there before. So it is important to finding out what's your target, what you're looking for, and find it quick. Grant Cardone mentioned something that it really makes everything that dude says make sense. I maybe disagree with quite a few things, but I mean, I'm focusing what what the guy is saying, right? Like, we go to I'm 48, and say, when you're 47, between 47, you have until 62, man. You have until 62 years old to really focus on your target. And he mentioned, like, I need to buy a house, I need to buy a car, or a new car, or vacation. No, we don't need a new car. We just need to find out what's our target is. Freedom. At the end of the day, it's like the constantly worry about money, right? Like you are, and that makes sense. I said, man, what do I need to do? And the only way we're gonna find a peace of mind is when we find our targets. You gotta find where you're going, man. If you are driving in the middle of the pitch black and cornfields, and you actually turn your lights off, like, have you tried it before? For about a second, it's just like, you cannot see nothing. But the most important thing, if you switch your lights, the only thing you got to do, even they mentioned in the movie The Secret, the only thing you got to do, focus in the next 10, 20 feet. because that's the only thing you need. Obviously, if you have, this bright lights, you can see a little more ahead. But you cannot see what's happening a mile from you. So you got to focus in, 100 meters at a time, man. 100 meters. Okay, what's next? And what's next? What's next? What do I need to do next? What do I need to accomplish? So, which, by the way you eat makes sense. I'm drinking a tea. They say when you wake up in the morning, you wake up with fresh water, right? If you actually drink lemon, you squeeze a little lemon and the cup, and you actually have a warm water, it does great things for you. Because of your body temperatures. So, what you drinking makes sense. What are you listening makes sense. And that's a problem in every part of the world, because we listen to the wrong folks. We are in the wrong channel, in the wrong vibrations. So the first thing I do in the morning, I pray, man. I read my Bible and I pray and put myself at ease. And okay, what do I need to accomplish today? And I try to block everything that I like, everything. Like, the only thing is just like me for a moment, and just, okay, what are we gonna do? And even the night, like right now, I'm preparing for tomorrow already. Like, I'm feeding my subconscious mind. Like, tomorrow I gotta go to, we gotta go to work, and we gotta do this. Today I'm gonna accomplish this, and that. I am going to find this. I'm gonna put that in position. I'm gonna record this. I wanna make that happen. I haven't been recording in my YouTube channel, and I say, you know what? It's just, you gotta find your target. You gotta find your target. And when you're driving from your work, I used to drive I probably put in my 2 cars ago, I put almost 200,000 miles, right? And what usually people listen when they are on the car? Music, the news, gossip, criticism. Man, you gotta put one of my videos, and put, Grant Cardone, put Albert Preciado. You can put Bobby Castro. You can put this, or you can put Eric Thomas. Man, Eric Thomas, you can put, he will fire you up. You can put, there's millions and millions and millions on hours that you can spend when you're driving. Like this week, I like zero patience for nothing. It's had to be only either it is the Christian channel, or it's something that is gonna motivate me, and because I got a constant feed in my mind on a daily basis, and it's gonna make either my life better or it's gonna make my life worse. So I need to constantly focusing on my target, on the things that I want to accomplish within the next 6 months, within the next year, within the next 5 years. I gotta be on top of my game. Because Grant Cardone said that makes sense. That when he was 47, 48. He said, I got from 47 till I'm 62, right? Because you don't have the same energy, right? When you have I see all these folks, I'm gonna climb, and they're running. Say, yeah, you're 20 years old, right? You're 20, 30 years old, right? I'm almost 50. And I look pretty darn good, but it's still, I haven't reached in the moment I say, you know what, it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. We just need to constantly focusing on our target, on the next level of performance. So just turn off social media. There's nothing positive. And the only thing you got to do is, it just, look at all these movies, crime, death, there's nothing positive on the movies, right? There's nothing. It's always about betrayal. It's all about, oh my God, it's just disgusting, right? Hey, you watch what you want, but in my life, I want to be empowered. I want to be empowered to how can I live my life better in a daily basis, right? So while you listen is good, while you eating it makes sense. You got to sleep. You got to have a balanced life. Like at some hours of the day, boom, you got to cancel everything and you need to go to bed, right? Because you know that the next day you got to be fresh and you got to be ready to go. So right now, I'm putting my mind at ease and say, okay, tomorrow this is what I'm going to do. Even though today, it's not done, but we're going to be effective. We're going to do precise. We're going to execute. You want to go with a precise. Because your mind, it controls everything. Your mind controls everything. Oh, I'm going to call this dude. I'm going to call that. Now, you need to call someone that is going to empower you. I'm going to see in a little bit one of my buddies that owns a pretty successful business, and once I go to real estate, we're going to get some pointers, and those are the kind of people that I don't have time to. I don't even call people that I used to hang around 20 years ago. I have good friends that, hey, how you doing, bro? But other than that, I'm like, I need to focus, man. I need to focus. Right? Because the less distractions I have, that's the better for you. The less distraction you have, it is the better for you. You got to have less distractions every single time. And when you talk about distractions, listen to David Goggins and his podcast. He has hours and hours and hours of videos talking about distraction, talking about focus. This dude is focused. This dude is focused. I showed on social media, and I'm like, I'm on it. I gotta accomplish my goals. He wrote a second book. The first book was Can Hurt Me, and the second one it is I don't remember his second book, but the guy's probably thinking on the third book. The guy used to work for Ecolab. David Goggins used to work from Ecolab. So that Ecolab guy, weighing 300 pounds, spraying bugs and cockroaches all over the place until and the reason he succeed is because he was sick and tired of sick and tired. And he didn't make the decision. That's why he transformed on the guy that he transformed, right? The new David Goggins. And that's what we need to do. We need to transform ourselves just like David Goggins. He has his own methods. You use the methods that work for you. Don't try to emulate anybody. Don't try to copy. Do what works for you. Have a good day. Subscribe to the podcast Unbreakable Rogue on Spotify. I'm going to leave the link. Subscribe to the channel for Power Hour. Right, power 20 minutes, right? I'm going to always try to do less than 20 minutes, man. You don't have to watch this video for an hour and a half. And it's 20 minutes, brothers, less than 20 minutes. In my podcast, I do 20 minutes, man. 20 minutes of daily power. You can email me, roguelaw888@gmail.com, roguelaw888@gmail.com, and just execute, man. Don't wait any longer. Get rid of those relationships that they are damaging your that nothing had to do with your future. I just got a text a few days ago that a guy that used to work with me a long time ago and asking me for money, and I was like, dude, you guys are like almost like my age. What? You don't need to ask for. You go to the bank and ask for money. Right? Go use other people's money. Like Grant Cardone is, if you listen to his tapes, it's like, dude, you just need to go to work, man. And I have another family member that every time it's like, and I decided because if I open my mouth, believe me, they're not gonna like it, which I should have. He said, look, why you guys are asking for money, man? You guys are like 50-year-old individuals asking for money. That's pathetic. Now, if you go into business with someone, what are you gonna put in your business? You know, if you're gonna put 10,000 up front, you know, when you go buy a house, well, they ask you, you know, how much. You know, when you buy a car, what's the first thing they ask you, right? Are you putting money down? Most people say, what do they say? No, they don't want to put money down because they want to use other people's money, right? One time I did. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put some money, and I put $500 down, which I shouldn't. Right? So when you buy a car, they ask you, you want to pay money down? I said, nope, don't have it. I'm going to use what? Others, OPM. Right? I am my biggest charity. Right? So I was like, who are these folks, man? Asking for, it's like in Grant Cardone always said, I'm broke. I mean, I have like probably like $2-3 on me, right? Everything is tied up on my investments, on my 401k. And I'm growing my money so I can buy real assets, right? That produce me cash flow. Right? In my last commercial deal, I lost tons of money because we didn't have a plan. The right people wasn't with me, so we ended getting crushed and burned, just like Top Gun, right, in the movie. You know, I was just crushed and burned because you are hanging around with the wrong people. People who had the wrong targets, the wrong mentality, the wrong culture, the wrong beliefs. And you got to separate. You got to change your number. People, I have this. If you have the same number for 20 years, nobody needs to know your number. Donald Trump was talking to, and I'm almost done, by the way. Donald Trump was talking to Robert Kiyosaki. I believe so. Donald Trump told Robert Kiyosaki, if you answer your own phone, you don't make enough money. And you know that's very true. If you answer your own phone, you don't make enough money. That's the reality. And when people say, what are you talking? Yeah, if everybody knows your number and you pick up the phone, then you don't make enough money. So I asked him, you know, it's going to be at the point that I'm going to have my assistant. I'm not quite there yet, but believe me, it's going to be at the point like I changed my number already. Like in the past 5 years, I think I changed my number like 3 times. When this family, they're trying to, hey, what's your number? You ain't having my number. You ain't having my number. Only a few people know my number, and that's people very, very close to me. But guess what? You ain't getting my number unless, you know, we're doing a $10 million deal. Then you're getting my number. Other than that, you ain't getting my number, brothers. You know? God, Lord. But, and that's true. A few years ago when I was in Mexico City visiting my family, and I understood about what time was. And I was asking for, one of my aunts, right? And she's like, oh, she's busy. You need to make an appointment. And I was like, I need to make an appointment to see my family? And for a lot of years, I was so mad. It's like, what this lady was talking about? I'm your nephew, and I need to make an appointment? Because the most valuable asset that you have is time. And even though I was just going to visit my aunt because I didn't want to visit her, but it's like, this lady was working, man. This lady had a target. And that lady had a target that no one in your family is going to derail her of me. And that was, probably like 20, 30 years ago. I mean, it was a long, long time ago. And I felt like, what's just wrong with this lady? But thank God I understood. I said, yeah, time is valuable. You need to make an appointment unless, you're like, I don't have time. And I had a target. I had a places to be and people to see. So have a good afternoon. Have a great day. Subscribe to the app. Subscribe to the podcast. When you're driving, please listen to positive, encouraging music. Some of that is going to trigger those like, that when you're sick and tired of losing. And if you wanted some good tips of shows, watch these show on Netflix from Formula One, the swing from the golfers, and tennis is called. Oh my God, that's quite a few tennis shows and these professional tennis players. Go watch it and just make it big, man. Stop wasting your time. Make it happen.